Kara Shalom, welcome to our watercolor journey. Today we are going to paint an interesting sky and a beautiful field of yellow flowers. The materials used are listed in the description below. On the palette we have Horizon Blue, Cerulean, Quinacridone Red, Payne's Grey Blue, a premix of Horizon, Cerulean, Quin Red and Payne's Grey to create a greyish purple, and ISO Yellow Deep. The Canson paper is taped to a flat board. Heinrich is using a very low horizon line for this one, and he places a strip of thin washi tape on this line to help keep it straight. The smaller foreground gives him the opportunity to paint a large, beautiful sky. He starts by wetting the paper above the washi tape with a Princeton mop. Make sure it's very wet, as you will paint the sky wet into wet. Watch carefully where he places the blues. You need to leave plenty of unpainted areas to create the clouds and shadows. He starts with Horizon Blue and the Rosemary & Co. No. 7 Sable blend brush. He uses the mid-size brush as he's only going to add streaks of paint. You can use a larger brush, but this size is quite convenient for this type of sky because it is easier to control the amount of paint and water you need to use. He gently blends the paint into the water on the paper. He adds touches of cerulean to create some variation in the blues. You can use cobalt instead, then just add more or less pigment to vary the darkness or the value of the colors. Let us know in the comments if you have used Horizon Blue before and what you think of it. Here he adds the grey premix and then Payne's Grey to create shadows. He constantly blends the edges with the water on the paper to create soft, puffy clouds. All of these colors are added very gently with the tip of the brush. When you are satisfied with the sky, you can remove the washi tape and let the painting dry. He created a green premix using the Iso Yellow and Payne's Grey Blue. More Iso Yellow will give you a mustardy green, and more Payne's Grey will make a darker shadow green. You can use Indian Yellow as an alternative. The sky is the focal point of this painting, so that is why the foreground is rather narrow. The limited foreground also means that whatever you place on the horizon line should be very small and indistinct. He uses the tip of the Rosemary and Co. No. 3 brush to add the tree line. He works on both sides with the same colors to make sure that the tree line is uniform. He adds a bit of water to blend the paint into the foreground. He uses the same greyish mix to add suggestions of houses or rocks in the distance. Leave plenty of white gaps. You can always add something, but it is difficult to get your light back once you have painted the entire area. He blends the grey into the green to connect the middle ground with the foreground. Now he adds a creamier mix of the Iso Yellow for the flower field. This is done in a few confident strokes. This field is in the distance, so there's no detail. The yellow also brings a bit of warmth into the foreground. He uses the colors on the palette to build the terrain. Vary the strokes. Some can be horizontal, others can be diagonal. This makes the terrain a lot more interesting and will resemble small rises or dents in the area. Notice that this touch of horizon blue makes a much brighter green. He brings the horizon blue into the foreground to tie the sky and the foreground together. This brown mix is made from Quin Red, Iso Yellow and Payne's Grey. He will use this to paint the trees. The green mix is the same as before, Iso Yellow and Payne's Grey. He adds more yellow to get the mustardy color, and this will create a stunning variation in the foliage. If you simply use one constant color, your painting will look flat and uninteresting. By adding more or less of a pigment, you can create interesting variations in the colors. He uses the belly of the brush to paint the foliage. Sometimes you will start with the trunks first, but here he starts with the canopies of the trees because the trunks are going to be very thin and nondescript. He uses the brown mix for the trunks and allows the mix to blend into the foliage. This brings variation and creates natural shadows. These two brown lines lead the eye into the painting and define the terrain a bit more. Use the belly of the brush to add some grass to the foreground. The trees in the foreground are a bit larger and have a touch more detail. This brings them forward and helps to create depth in the painting. He adds some more shadows to give the trees dimension, and then he adds a few details and some darker values. Please do us a favor. Press like and comment on this video. Please subscribe also if you haven't already. It would help to place our channel on the map. You are also welcome to share your version of the painting with us on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. We hope to see you soon. Vaya con Dios.